Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you some tiny little paintings. I am taping off right here the size. I chose 2 by 3 inches and I'm just masking them off with painter's tape, and I'm using a gel block, and it just is awesome because the blocks prevent the paper from curling up.
Impossible to score, so I dream of to someday find that vintage love. I kept on looking, but everyone's such a bore. And out of a sudden, you came.
So I've sketched out 4 little paintings, and I'm going to start with this potted plant. And with watercolors, you always start with the lightest colors, or at least I do, and then build with the darker ones. You can paint over light colors, but with watercolors, you can't do the reverse. So I am putting in the background of these leaves, which is an ochre yellow, and then I'm adding some green, some sap green. I remember when I first started painting, I used a lot of Hooker's green, and then I found sap green, and I really love the color. So it's kind of my go-to. So you'll just see me continue to add the base color here on all of these leaves and do some various shading. The underside of the leaves have the kind of the variegation and the maybe the stem running up through it. I'm not familiar with this plant, and then the front side of the leaf is more of a solid green.
We're living in that vintage dream.
As you see me painting, I'm kind of skipping from leaf to leaf, and the reason being that if I were to touch one of the leaves with my brush that already had water on it, then it would fade into the other leaf. And so you kind of have to wait for the leaf to be somewhat dry before you do another leaf to touch it or that's close by it. So this leaf that I'm painting right up next to must be somewhat dry, or you'll see that I'll leave just a slight white border, which actually works for this because the top of the leaf does have just a slight lighter color, and so as you can see, I'm just leaving that little hair that's white, and it kind of creates an outline, but it also is kind of true to what the leaf looks like. Watercolor happens in stages, and it's just this building of layer upon layer. Same with acrylic, same with oil. So it's just how many layers are you going to build? How many layers does it require for this leaf to look like a leaf? lot of people, most people I would say, paint watercolor with a very loose technique, but I just find that I see the world in detail, and so that's how I paint. And I've had people try and tell me that, oh, you should do it like this, and you look at my artwork and you will know that it's mine because of the detail with the watercolors. I think it's really fun to paint terracotta because it just has so many colors, so many layers of colors, and it's just kind of like anything goes when you're painting terracotta. You might be able to notice that I've got a tissue or a paper towel in one hand, and I always keep a paper towel there. And I am going to the brush, to the towel, removing moisture, and then often I'll be trying to pull moisture off of my brush or the paper. Like there, I'm removing it from the paper. And it's just really helpful to have it in my hand. So I've waited for it to dry somewhat, and then I've gone back and added some more depth to it, and I believe I even add a little bit more. But here I'm just coming in with a pale blue to just brighten up the picture, and it really does make it rather cheerful. I'll stay here for as long as I can. So here all the leaves are dry, and I can just come back in and do some of the variegation stem work that you see on the back side of the leaves. So this is dry, wet on dry. Wet paint on dry paint. And I'll leave with your smile in my mind. Wherever we will end up, I will love it. Just a little more brown to add some shadowing. And then it's close to done. So a lot of my artwork is architectural. I'm fascinated by the lines in buildings, and I'm always taking pictures of them when we travel, doors and just fun streets that have colorful buildings and interesting shapes. And it's a lot to paint for all the windows and the lines, especially to sketch it all out. But I just, again, am drawn to the details, and it's just fun for me to include all that in my artwork. So I am just doing the first layer of the green here, and I've started with the sap green, and then I've built some blue into it. And then I'm just gonna keep building that green, adding more layers as the color dries on the page, on the paper. So I started out painting watercolor in the very beginning. My mom told me if you can really master watercolor, you can do anything, because the other mediums are very forgiving. Whereas when you paint with watercolor, when you put it down on the page, you can't paint over it like you can oil or acrylic. I have been in an acrylic painting and just like, ugh, what am I doing? And then I know that I can scrub it off if I need to, but watercolor, it is there to stay. And so it's like, there is an added pressure, but I think that's one of the reasons why I like it too. It's fun, I think, to go from painting watercolor to acrylic and then back to watercolor, because it is a reverse of what I'm doing. In acrylic, it's usually dark to light, or really I can do either. I can do light to dark or layer it however I want, but in watercolor, I have to just really kind of stop and think of the process that I'm going to do and how I'm going to build this painting, because it does that have that element of unforgiveness. So in this next square, or rectangle actually is what it is, I am doing the ocean, and it's, for this technique, I did wet on wet. So I colored the paper first with just water and then went with blue, and then now I'm adding layer upon layer and building it that way. Sometimes when I'm painting, I think, okay, this would have been more fun to paint it with acrylic, or this is definitely something I would paint with watercolor. It's fun to have that option. I think if I only did watercolor, I would get bored. If I only did acrylic or oil, I just like to try it all. It's so fun, and it's just such a challenge for the brain to go back and forth. This is going to be fun, painting these little paintings, because I can really challenge myself to just work on one subject and just do it over and over again, or try lots of different things. But the idea is just to keep painting every week, every day. So I thought I would show you, when I travel, what I take with me as far as art, a little painting kit. And I have a couple of different ones that I have. It's all ready to go, and it's this tiny little, actually it looks bigger. It looks pretty big on this screen, but it's actually 10 by 5. So let me show you what is in there. So this is kind of what it looks like in here. And so these are watercolors. And I've seen this at Blick. I got this particular one at a museum in London, but it just rolls off. You've got different little colors It's really good quality paint. I have a viewfinder. It's just a piece of paper that I've cut out, and it just helps when I am doing plein air to kind of like look through it and to see if this would make a good painting. It just helps to put a border around something and kind of bring your focus in. Is a little gel palette. So the pages have this gel going around the outside, so it keeps them from like curling up and lifting. This originally was moisturizer makeup remover, and it's just water, and it's just a nice little size. It's kind of on the flatter size, so that works. Here's the eraser for watercolor, and then here's just some, I obviously use these, and I just keep using these tissues and napkins. So most of the time I just travel with one brush. So I did buy these brushes. It looks like this, and then this is the end, and it pushes through like that. So it's just a little pencil to sketch it, 0.5 pen with a small tip. So that's it. And it just all goes very easily back in here. And it just all slides in here. Darren and I we were at the Met in New York. If you ever have a chance to go to the Met, of course do it, but don't skip the bookstore on the way out. It's probably like the best bookstore, gift shop, whatever, of any museum that I've ever been to. It's huge. It's full of books. It's full of art supplies and just fun things, and I loved it. And so we came out of there and we walked over to the park, and we were just sitting down, and Darren said, I have a gift for you. And this was my first little travel palette. And the paint is still soft. This is good paint. And I've had it all these years, and it's so I could easily put this with one of those gel blocks in here and one brush, and same situation, and this is awesome. And he even was like, here's a brush, here's a bottle of water. He had bought it all, and a little palette, and he was just like, I want you to paint while we're sitting here in the park. It was just so romantic and super thoughtful. When we travel, he'll be the one that will say, did you pack your paints? And he just really encourages me to do that, because he knows it brings me so much happiness. It's just having it ready to go and just throwing it in the bag that makes it all so doable. So we were told by our apartment building that we needed to remove some of the stuff from our parking spot in the basement. So all of this stuff I specifically put down there, that it's all kind of deals with when we go sailing and go snorkeling. And I'm like, this is stuff that we don't use in the condo, so let's keep it down there. But now I've been told that it needs to come up here. So I've made some room for it, but right now what I'm doing is gathering up all the toys and putting them up high, because My grandbabies aren't here that often, and so there's no reason to have this kind of stuff down low. And by doing so, then I can free up some closet space to put all of the water equipment.
Kept on playing my part, wanting to give up cause nothing was changing. But with you it's so clear, and now that you're here I see colors in every spectrum. Guess I finally learned my lesson. Cause you glue all the pieces back together. Yeah, you take all my wrongs and make them better. Yeah, you're making me wanna try forever. And I feel so free, oh my sweet baby.
So I wish the grandbabies came more often, but until they do, I can just store everything on this high shelf, and I won't be getting into it very often, so it's a perfect place to put all the baby stuff. Now this kind of frees up the space for me to organize all of this sailing and water gear, because we are into this stuff a lot, and when people come we like to have enough snorkels and masks for people so they don't have to bring things like that on the plane. But it's just a matter of where do I put it when they're not here.
So free, oh my sweet baby. All the pieces back together. Yeah, you take all my wrongs and make them better. Yeah, you're making me wanna try forever. And I feel so free, oh my sweet babe.
So I decided to hang the life vests, and I just have this closet in my art room that's just for this. It's dessert time. Time for gelato. I couldn't decide which flavor, so I just got another one at the last second. Thanks for watching. See you next week. Like and subscribe.